Story of a Superhero. The Superhero Who Stopped the Zombie Plague. Kids' Adventure Stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Kareem is different. He is special. He has the ability to do things that others can't. Because of his gift, he wants to contribute. He has a mission. His sole purpose seems to protect others, but his character is tested when something appears that surpasses all the trials he has ever faced. The complicated unfolding of events has placed Kareem in a terrible position. He is surprised by his adversaries, something that rarely happens, but this time he has to solve the puzzle, which contains a series of interconnected themes in the past, present, and future. Listen to the story of a superhero who overcomes severe obstacles and comes off conqueror, showing himself and the world what he is made of. Chapter 1. Seeing the Future. He grew up in a friendly environment, with people from all different backgrounds, races, upbringings, religions, skin color, or financial situations. The Phyla city was a decent place, with a relatively small population. It was peaceful there, and nothing shocking or problematic ever happened, except for on extremely rare occasions. But things have changed. A lot. The inhabitants have changed. Everything is different now. Everything is worse than it used to be. In fact, a lot of things are going terribly wrong. Skyscrapers decorate the skies like gigantic interrupters of peace, portraying hundreds of lights at night and a chaotic crowd during the day. Sirens are heard regularly, and the state of the city is neglected by the local police, who are in desperate need of a valiant vigilante to come to the rescue when they cannot. Kareem is black. His parents were immigrants, as were many others in the previous generation. He is 22 years old and in the prime of his life. He loves being young and energetic, with the freedom to go wherever you want, whenever you want. His newfound gift has been incredibly beneficial to himself and those around him. Recently, he concluded what he sensed all along. He can foretell the future. Not like a fortune teller or some kind of soothsayer, astrology has never interested him in the least. No, Kareem has the ability to feel what is happening before it does. It usually doesn't include everything, and the future always changes. But a certain intuitive hunch has always helped him understand the connection between what happens in the present and what the consequences in the near future are, more than others who have similar insights. In this way, he can somehow predict some of the most imminent events and the actions of others as a result of their intentions and previous experiences. Kareem noticed he was different when he won games and sports, and when people started asking him things like, "How did you know that?" and "Did you just read my mind or something?" Things that happened were seen before they took place, and the strong hunch he got every time some danger or threat came his way was more than mere coincidence, or so he figured. Now he is armed with a strong self-confidence and a knowledge of his special skills. After pondering what he would do with these extraordinary feelings, he decided that he would use it to help out others. Anyone with more possibilities should go beyond the regular and use those options for the good of other people, he reasoned. Examples abound. He is determined to save some individual here and there, just to make the city a safer place. In order to protect his identity, he wears a mask and a superhero outfit. He doesn't want his rescue efforts and his heroic endeavors stand in the way of his everyday life as a simple citizen. Last week, for instance, a block caught fire. The cause of it, they found out later, was a housewife who mistakenly let her dinner burn while spending hours on the phone and forgetting the frying pan on the stove. The fire spread to various other homes next to her. Fire trucks arrived within a small time period, and panicking individuals ran from the houses. "Is there anyone else in there, madam?" one of the firemen asked another civilian. "I don't know. I just came out because of the smoke," the woman said anxiously. "I thought I was going to die. I'm so glad I am safe, but how terrible." The fireman approached another woman. Is anybody in those buildings?" he asked.
"Oh, thank goodness you're here. Please rescue my daughter," she cried. "I was trying to get her, but a burning beam fell between us. I told her I would get help as quickly as I could. Please hurry."
"Understood. We'll do what we can, madam," the fireman said. "Hey, you and you. Follow me into that building. Bring the fire extinguishers. Quickly. There's a girl in there. We need to take her out promptly." "Yes, sir." The 4 firemen grabbed their equipment and ran towards the building. Inside, it was a mess. Smoke was everywhere, and objects were burning all around them. There was only a small chance this girl would be alive anyway, but at least they had to do their best, they thought. Arriving in the rooms, they could hardly see anything, despite their masks. "There's no way to get through," one of them said. "I don't know where to go. We have to watch out or one of us will die here as well," another said. Ugh, can you guys see anyone?" "There, it's a... Wait a minute. That can't be a little girl. Are you seeing this?" "Hey, mister, what are you doing in here? Get out before you can. This place is going to collapse." But the shady figure didn't move. He stood there, waiting as if he expected something to happen within seconds. Then it happened. The ceiling fell down and surrounded the young man with its pieces of burning debris. He still stood there. He didn't move a muscle. "No, it can't be," one of the firemen said, widening the pupils in his eyes while staring at the scene in front of him. "Unbelievable," another said. "Did you see that? It was as if he knew exactly where the broken ceiling was going to fall. He didn't even get scraped." "Something's wrong," the head fireman said. Before they could say another word, the young man used the same broken ceiling parts to pull himself up to the second floor and vanish from the sight of the firemen. What he was doing they could only guess, but the smoke was becoming too thick, and the flames were about to melt their special suits. They couldn't stand the heat anymore. "We have to go," one of the firemen said. "We can't. What about the girl?" "We did our best. There's nothing left to do here. I realize how tragic it is to leave her alone, but perhaps we can find another way in. We have to exit the building. Follow me." The firemen stepped out of the burning edifice and walked around it to find a different way to enter it, all to no avail. It looked like the building was done for, and with that, everyone inside as well. The mother was crying. There was no consoling her. She refused to be comforted. She felt guiltier than ever. Why did she ever leave her daughter when she was her only hope?
"What kind of a mother am I?" she said in sorrow.
"The kind that tries to save her own life, madam," the fireman answered. But before he went on, he realized that every word would just add to her depressive state. He didn't blame her at all. If only there were a way this could have been prevented, he thought. It was too late now. They tried, and they failed miserably. This is the part of the job he hated so much. But then there was a noise. Everybody looked into the direction of the building, lifting their gaze with a renewed tiny particle of hope. The vapors were thick, but the image soon became clearer. The young man emerged from the flames and the smoking air, holding the living daughter of the grieving mother in his arms. Mouths fell open, hearts started beating faster, and the mother of the girl came running at this mysterious rescuer, thanking him and feeling grateful she could carry her breathing offspring in her arms. "Thank you," she said. "Whoever you are, I will always be grateful." "You're welcome," the black guy with the mask said. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have other things to do." With that, he ran off. "Wait," the mother said, reaching out her one hand. But the hero had disappeared. However he pulled that off, the firemen would never understand it. The odds were so much against him that they considered it a miracle, and so did the relieved mother. This was just the first of many important acts to come. Another case was less adventurous but equally dramatic. The media was all over it. The moment was tense, and the crowd was anxious. Cameras were being held by a dozen people, attempting to get a good angle or a decent shot at the unfolding scene. Oohs and ahs were uttered by many as the masses stared up at a single man on the edge of a building balcony, some 100 feet above the ground. "Don't do it," they were yelling. "It's not worth it. Think about it." The shouting voices were nothing but muffled echoes in the distance. The man didn't care. He had had it. It was over. What else did he have to live for? His wife left him, and his dire financial situation was impossible to improve. His self-esteem was shattered, as were his purpose and his perspective on happiness itself. He was going to jump. It would be better this way, he told himself. Nobody would lament the loss of his useless life. He was certain of that. Co-workers stood helplessly by in the windows, not daring to come near the dangerous edge of the edifice. They wanted to prevent this useless act of despair more than anything they held dear at that moment, but their incompetence had no boundaries. They just didn't have the guts to jump to the rescue. However, the same masked hero appeared again in this seemingly hopeless scenario. Determined to save this man's life, he leaped up the stairs, sprinting as if his own life depended on it. After reaching the distressed man, he climbed on the edge of the balcony and stood there, next to him, and beckoning him to grab his hand. "What for?" the man said. "My life is pointless anyway. I have no reason to live." "You know that's not true," Kareem said. "I dare you to name 3 people who at least care about you enough to live." "Are you kidding?" the man asked. "Nobody cares about me." "What about all those people down there?" Kareem asked. "They don't care. They just want the news to be spectacular enough to get more viewers to watch their channel." "Well, what about your coworkers?" Kareem asked, pointing at his colleagues in the window. "I don't think they would be devastated if I died," the man said, with tears in his eyes. "What about your children? Do you have any children?" Kareem asked. The man paused. He couldn't control his emotions. He felt abandoned and lonely, but the loving kids who visited him every weekend were crazy about him, despite his flaws. He knew that for sure. He broke down and cried. "You know what? You're right. Life is tough, but I do have something to live for," he said. "Then grab my hand," Kareem insisted, "and we'll get you the psychological help you need." The man reached out and tried to grab Kareem's hand, but he slipped. He was about to fall anyway, but not on purpose. It was a scary moment for everyone who was watching, but not for Kareem. His brain calculated every inch that would move in the near future. He knew where the man was going to hold on and where he was going to let go. In an instant, Kareem bent over and grabbed the wrist of the slipping man, balancing himself and the victimized individual perfectly before pulling him over the edge and helping him back inside. People clapped. They were happy this possibly tragic scene had ended well, at least in the sense that there was still hope for this desperate soul. People came at the man and embraced him, thanked Kareem, and organized a way for the man to rest and get help. Kareem wasn't going to walk down and give a speech. He knew the price of fame, so he disappeared out the back door. There is one more story worth mentioning before expanding on the main crisis this hero found himself in, and that's a bank robbery. It happened on a Sunday afternoon. He was sitting on a terrace, taking small sips while enjoying a cool glass of juice. The day was bright and warm. Nothing seemed to indicate the threatening circumstances the people in his close environment would soon be in. Kareem saw it all happening before it did, though. He foresaw the 3 gentlemen in suits, hiding their faces behind insidious masks, as they would barge into the bank on the other side of the street within minutes. He wouldn't let them. This was his moment of bravery. Out of the blue, he stood up and walked towards the bank. "Can I help you, sir?" someone behind the counter asked. "Shh," Kareem said, holding his finger in front of his mouth. He hid behind a pillar of the expensive, luxurious interior of the company, waiting for the anticipated villains to enter the lobby. His predictions were right. Pulling guns out of their bags, the trio announced their reason for interrupting. Shooting in the air, they said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to take the money which is rightfully ours. Move and you die. Stay still, shut up, and you'll live. If we can just all cooperate, nobody will get harmed." The typical thing that always happens was something Kareem saw before it happened as well. "Hey, don't try to be a hero," one of the robbers would say, looking over and seeing an employee reach for his cell phone. "Tak-a-dak-a-dak." He would shoot the man in the chest with his machine gun. It didn't really happen, but it was about to happen. It wasn't too late yet. Kareem knew it. Within a flash of a second, he turned around the sturdy column he was leaning his back against and elbowed the robber in his throat. The startled bandit immediately dropped his weapon and fell over. The other two turned around, but it was too late. Kareem had already vanished behind another wall.
"Where did he go?" one of them asked in a scared voice.
"Are you playing games? Show yourself," the other yelled.
Kareem didn't need a mirror. He didn't need a reflecting surface or someone signaling him when it was safe to attack. He knew exactly when the two robbers would turn the other way, and he waited for the precise moment to strike. After about 10 seconds, this is what happened, and with the back of their heads facing his direction, the way was free to grab their heads and bash them against each other. Knockout. All three of them. The guns were lying next to them on the floor, but none of them had the strength to reach for them, since their level of consciousness was that of a skeleton. Before his applause, the hero leapt out of the door and disappeared out of sight. Chapter 2. Famous but Infamous. Anyone who knows about Kareem's superpower to predict the near future must be in shock when they hear that he walks away from the honor he could have received by an impressed crowd. But experience has taught this young hero the harshness of reality and the impulsive judgments of human beings. He has decided to keep himself away from the honor of the masses, since he realizes how fleeting and volatile it is. Kareem comes home and laments the impulsive tendency of these simple creatures to condemn and rebuke. He reflects on a previous occurrence that ruined him financially. Whether or not his rightful money is in his pockets, he does not care. He just wished it would have been otherwise. Why do people always trying to get something for nothing? This is what happened. Someone discovered at some point that Kareem could predict the future, at least in a limited way. He found out by the little things, like when Kareem played cards, caught a bottle falling on the ground, or avoided a dangerous driver when he was crossing the road. This malicious person did not care about making someone suffer. He simply wanted money, as much as possible. His name was Michael. He devised a little scheme and tricked Kareem into losing a lawsuit. The filthy thief. Sad that people get away with those dishonest types of plans. There they were, sitting in a courtroom, exchanging spiteful glares at each other. The room was mostly brown, decorated with simple patterns on the ceiling. Crowds of people were curious to see the outcome of this supernatural phenomenon Kareem was accused of being able to trigger. There were at least 50 people in the courtroom, as well as a few in the hallways who were awaiting the end results. The judge possessed a huge hammer and pounded the pulpit as he pleased, happy to be in charge and being able to exercise his profession. Kareem's lawyer was as incompetent as a young child, but Kareem didn't have a lot, so trying to find a better one was out of the question. "What do you have to say in your defense?" the judge asked Kareem. "Your Honor, I never intended to crack the system or to get money in a dishonest way," Kareem said. "But you know how, and that's not fair," Michael's lawyer blurted out as he got up. "Mr. Kareem," the judge continued, "do you deny the power of foreseeing the nearby future?" "I don't," Kareem boldly declared. "Then don't you think," the judge continued, "that it's potentially dangerous for you to enter the lottery, no matter how low the price of the tickets? If anyone else had this power, they could exert the same to easily win all the money for themselves." "But I didn't," Kareem defended. "He's lying, Your Honor," Michael said. "Order!" the judge shouted. "When I want your witness, I will allow you to come to the stand." "I apologize, Your Honor," Michael said. "Mr. Michael's lawyer, your client has made a terrible accusation. Are you able to back this claim up?" Yes, Your Honor. Exhibit A here shows that Kareem has bought a lottery ticket, fully aware of which numbers would make him win."
Putting the lottery ticket on the table, he smirked and sat back in his chair. "You know I bought that ticket for you," Kareem shouts. "How dare you use this against me, you backstabbing weasel?" "Order! Order!" the judge demands. The whole thing blew up. There was chaos in the courtroom. People were angry, guards were called in to calm down the situation. And to make a long story short, the end result was that while Michael got a truckload of money for winning the case, Kareem had to pay a large fee and was forbidden to ever participate in the lottery, and mixed feelings were present among the populace. Kareem hasn't done much after that to use his predicting power. He has kept a low profile. He doesn't trust the common citizen as much as he used to. Just like any celebrity or someone in the spotlight, there is always danger lurking beneath the surface, caused by those who abuse the system and the evil opportunities laid out for them by life. Chapter 3. Daily Living. Kareem wakes up. He finds himself panting because of a nightmare he doesn't remember. All he knows is that it has left him anxious and sweaty, even minutes after his awakening. It must have been awful dreaming about this. He sits up for a minute or two, then gets up and grabs a cup of chocolate milk. Back to reality. He stares at the pigeons outside. One of them is stupid enough to fly into the glass window. Bang! The fat bird slides down after slightly cracking the glass. Silly pigeon. Why would you fly against the window like that? Didn't he see it? Oh well. Kareem lives in an apartment not too far away from his parents, who live about 6 blocks away from him. Kareem's apartment is small and simple, but he loves it. He loves his own space, with the freedom to do whatever he wants. Every other day, though, he visits his parents to see if they are doing all right. This day is no different from any other day, or so it appears to be at first. Kareem's superpower is limited to the nearby future, but seldom stretches into the foreknowledge of things to come hours or days ahead of him. He doesn't mind. All he wants is to be happy, and if anything comes his way, he will stand ready to help out. Eventually, this day is different than the other days. He senses it. He just doesn't know what is wrong or what is going to be wrong. Either way, he makes himself hurry to his parents' place this time, because his hunch is stronger than ever before. "Knock, knock," he says as he opens the door. Empty. The house is empty. Odd. Where could they be? They said they were expecting him. Kareem is not liking this. Something's not right here. "Mom? Dad?" he yells, hoping for an answer. "Are you here? Remember, I was going to come over today?" No answer. He walks through the living room. Everything is in its place. Nothing has been moved. The neat little room is as tidy as ever. He opens the door to the bedroom. What a difference. What a mess. Things are turned upside down in the bedroom. The sheets are off the beds, the dresser has fallen on the floor, and even the mirror has broken into 1,000 pieces. This is not like them. Something happened here. Chapter 4. More Speed. Kareem fears for his parents' lives. The arduous task ahead of him has now become some kind of detective assignment to solve the puzzle and figure out what happened to them. Before calling the police, Kareem tries to find tracks, anything the kidnappers left behind. Through the piles of clothes, the broken furniture, and the ripped mattress, he searches and searches until... "Hey, what's that?" he asks out loud to no one in particular. It's chiseled sandstone. Kareem bends over and rubs the stuff between his fingers. "I know where this is coming from," he says. "There is only one place outside the city where you can find chiseled sandstone, the Miners' Rocks. Perhaps these small grains of sand were in the villain's pocket when he took my parents." He prowls into some other objects, but couldn't find anything specific. "To the Miners' Rocks it is," he says. Kareem heads back to his apartment. He runs through the busy city streets, crosses the crosswalk without waiting for it to become green, and maneuvers his way through the crowds. When he enters his place, he puts on his mask and his superhero outfit. He looks at his old second-hand bicycle. It's a superannuated piece of junk that he just uses to save himself some gas. But this scenario required more extreme measures. Forget the bicycle. There is something better in the garage. "How's it going, buddy?" he says to another vehicle standing in the corner. Lifting the sheet which is covering it, he thinks about the last time he used this amazing speed devil. "Time for a ride," he says in a low voice as he hops on his precious glimmering motorcycle. "This is going to be awesome." The motorcycle is crimson red. Its shiny surface portrays flames and tiny patterns invisible to the naked eye, unless a person comes closer and shows some appreciative respect to it. Its engine is powerful and makes its rider go super fast. Kareem loves this thing. It feels like a dream riding it. It's just more expensive and fragile, which is why he only uses it to get out of the city. "Ready to go, Bikey?" he says, as if talking to an actual person. He sits down, kicks the engine on, and gets ready to speed out the garage door. Vroom! He races through the city and feels alive. Only a couple hours until he gets to the Miners' Rocks. This is going to be... Kareem was going to say fun, but he gets held up by traffic. Great. Another red light. And another. And another. It just happens to be rush hour, and Kareem is stuck in a traffic jam with his motorcycle, feeling that the potential of this rapid monster of a vehicle gets untapped. "What a waste," he says. "It's like I could get there faster on foot. If only I had known about this earlier, I could have avoided the rush hour. Now everybody is just going to work at the same time. Ugh." The long, hard struggle to get out of the city is taking a lot longer now. After about 5 hours of sighing and complaining, the rush is finally over. "Woohoo!" Kareem cheers as he takes off and hits a steady average speed of circa 80 miles per hour on the freeway leading out of his hometown, heading for the Rocky Mountain Range. What he will find there will shock him, to say the least. Chapter 5. Impending Danger. This is it, the Miners' Rocks. His parents must be over here somewhere. It seems so simple, and yet it is not. Why? Because there are miles and miles of mountains here, all containing the chiseled sandstone he found in his parents' bedroom. His patience has limits, but his sense of futuristic events helps him find a distinct location on intuition. Kareem searches and searches, and then senses something happening in one of the mountain caves near him. After about an hour of looking around, he finds the deserted cave. Kareem pulls over, puts his motorcycle against a rock, and sneaks into the cave. He has to be prepared for anything, he thinks. "No, I need a different one. Hand me the spruce leaves and the allium," he hears a voice yell. "Okay, boss," a seemingly less intelligent voice answers. As Kareem approaches the light emanating from the hollow opening in the cave, he observes 5 men, each of them armed to the teeth. He can only guess how much the arms and pistols cost that they are holding and keeping in their pockets and holsters. One of the men looks like he is in charge, giving him the impression of a lab rat, with a white coat and a pair of glasses. "I need rare fern, magenta wool, poppies, and some of that chiseled sandstone from the rocks. That will be the correct mixture. Trust me," the man in the white coat says. "Hey, Carl, where do you want this stuff?" "In the corner," the professor says. These combinations sound dangerous, and they are, seeing that this mean man is adding them into a tube next to an immense rocket. Kareem looks around. He analyzes the situation. The rocket? What is that for? The professor, or whatever he calls himself, and the 4 armed men. Then there is the... Hey, those are his parents. On the right side of the cave, his parents are bound and gagged. They can't see Kareem, but Kareem can see them. Nobody has seen him so far, actually, a convenient advantage he is more than willing to use. "Ha ha ha!" the guy with the glasses exclaims. "This is it! Let's test it on our guinea pigs." He walks over to Kareem's parents and dumps the stuff into their mouths. No! Kareem yells, but it is too late. Why he didn't see this coming, he doesn't know. His powers left him alone. He couldn't predict it. And now this villain poured some who knows what into his parents' mouths. Who goes there? One of the thugs asks after hearing Kareem's cry. Don't bother, Professor Carl says. These two will be ready within seconds. Kareem keeps hiding. But as he looks above the rim of the rock he is hiding behind, he sees his two parents start turn into something different. Their eyes turn red, their mouths start foaming, and their sense of reality seems to disappear as they transform into some monstrous kind of zombies. Needless to say, this new poison they've taken in has a trigger effect on their aggressiveness. Stand back, let's see what they will do, the professor says. Hey, little hero, if you're still there, just come out wherever you are. We won't shoot you. For some reason, Kareem trusts his words and leaves his hiding place. What did you do to them? He asks in anger. You'll find out soon enough, as all of us will, Carl says laughingly. Kareem's parents break their bonds and roar loudly. Ugh. After this expression, they storm at Kareem and jump at him, pulling him to the ground and standing ready to put their teeth into him. Mom, Dad, it's me, Kareem says. Snap out of it, please. But it is to no avail. They have been transformed. They don't have any memory, empathy, or feelings whatsoever, just a bloodthirst and a craving for human flesh. Kareem dodges their attacks and punches one of the thugs in his face before grabbing his firearm. Stand back, he stammers. I don't want to kill you. His parents aren't listening. They are only driven by their urge to kill. Ignoring Kareem's remarks completely, they begin another attack and run at their son. Bam! Bam! What just happened? It is as if time stands still for a moment. Adrenaline is flowing through Kareem's blood. His heart pumps faster than an ADD boy on the drums. He holds his breath. Fumes ascend from his hot rifle. He just killed his parents. A sense of loss and sadness rushes through his very soul. He still can't believe what happened. Ha 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 ha! The evil professor laughs. It works! Ready to load, boys! Without any regard for Kareem and his dead father and mother, the man in the white coat puts a mixture in the rocket, ready to launch the thing. The professor pushes the button and launches the rocket. There it goes! Ha 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 ha! Chapter 6, Mayhem. What did you do? Kareem cries out. You've turned my parents into monsters! I had no choice but to shoot them! Not just your parents, young man, the evil professor says, but the whole city! Ha ha! What do you mean? Kareem asks. I created a substance that will turn everyone into zombie-like creatures just like your parents. I hacked the materials out of these rocks with my stone pickaxe, and they proved to be quite useful. People in the city will hate each other, they will kill each other, and nobody will know how it all started. But why? Why on earth would you do that? Oh, I have my reasons, the evil professor explains. I started out like you. I thought I would help the world by being yourself, but all my experiments got rejected. I had chemistry classes, but they weren't open to my suggestions. Eventually, I lost my family, my money, and it's all thanks to those ignoramuses. They took my life away, and now I am taking theirs. Well, not really. I'm just the one who shows them a little push. And then when panic strikes, when they're ready to beg for a solution, I will sell them the antidote for billions. And they'll buy it no matter what because I will have a powerful monopoly. It's genius. You monster, Kareem yells. Call me what you want, young man, but you're already too late. There's nothing you can do to stop it now. The rocket has been launched. I wouldn't recommend going into town. It might be a little chaotic there. Oh, yeah? We'll just see about that, Kareem says as he runs out of the cave. He hops on his motorcycle and starts the engine. Determined to catch up and follow the rocket into town, he hits the gas and figuratively flies through the air, surpassing the speed limit on the freeway to get to his destination in time. He doesn't care about the thugs. He has to let go of his parents for a little while until he has the time to reflect on their deaths. All he has to focus on now is getting back to the city to prevent the disaster from spreading. The professor was right, however. He is too late. Hordes of zombies are already roaming the streets. They attack humans, each other, and anything they can get their claws and teeth on. Kareem dodges a few corpses on the street by jumping his motorcycle over ledges and crisscrossing the vehicle towards the downtown area. What he sees there is one of his biggest nightmares. Chapter 7. Fighting. The downtown area is crazy. As Kareem approaches the burning buildings and fuming piles of debris and corpses, he is confronted by hordes of zombies, hundreds of zombies. He didn't know the gases from the rocket would have such an immediate effect. Is there anyone left to save, or has the whole city been doomed to destruction? Agonizing noises of terror rip through the regular hustle and bustle city sounds like a howling ghost screaming and flying through the air. The worst mayhem in the city's history unfolds before Kareem's eyes. Viewing the scenes and the bloody results of every citizen losing his or her sense of reality makes Kareem shiver. Random riots and explosions of aggression are thrusting everyone's heart with fear and anxiety. Someone has to do something. This is getting out of hand. It already got out of hand. Packed with a set of fighting skills and predicting powers, Kareem storms at the hordes and begins his battle. He punches one zombie here, kicks another there, and each time he is able to foresee their counterattacks and deviate from the patterns of their strikes. Is there ever an end to this? What is he even trying to accomplish? Preventing more fatalities? While avoiding countless zombies and knocking down dozens of other ones, he is trying to figure out how to eliminate the root of the problem. He isn't sure. It seems like there is no stopping the transformation of all these people, some of which are heaped on the floors and the broken streets, while others take out their rage on vulnerable victims. The city has never been in such an awful state before. It spreads like a disease. Innocent martyrs paint the city red with their blood. Chaos breaks the very foundations its largest skyscrapers are built on, and a filthy stench of the dead embellishes the sense of all who come near. But it isn't over yet. It has barely begun. Chapter 8. Calamity. Kareem fights his way through some zombies until a certain gut feeling catches his attention. He sees it happening before it does. A subway train is about to derail and cause hundreds of people to die or get caught up in the horrific movements of the city's former civilians. I have got to stop this thing, Kareem tells himself. I know it is coming from, he closes his eyes, that angle. He opens his eyes and looks at his finger as if he didn't know where he is pointing at. He jumps off a pile of building fragments and starts running into the direction of the subway tracks. Where is the switch? He has to act quickly, or the collision will become one of the biggest tragedies in the city. He looks and looks but cannot find the stupid switch. Then he sees something behind the wall. Aha, he says, sprinting towards the object. It's a lever, a large one that requires someone to pull with all his strength to get it to move. Kareem pulls as hard as he can. Oof, too heavy. Let's try again. This time it budges. Yes, he cheers. But his little celebration is based on a wrong conclusion. The lever is pulled back, but the subway tracks haven't even moved an inch. Why didn't it work? Kareem complains. Meanwhile, the subway train is coming closer. It is racing with an immense speed, unable to stop because of the technological error that has occurred by coincidence. Kareem is getting nervous. He is uncertain as of what to do next. He looks around for another switch or lever. There is nothing there. The subway train approaches. It's getting closer and closer. Bang! The train derails and glissades over the ground, ending up above the surface because of the deviating objects in its way. Floors collapse, people die, fumes of smoke add to the random explosions in numerous places. Zombies get run over. Blood and horror depict the tragic scene as the so-called hero watches by helplessly, lamenting the loss of the lives he could have saved. "No!" he screams. Chapter 9. Deja Vu. Kareem wakes up. He finds himself panting because of a nightmare he doesn't remember. All he knows is that it has left him anxious and sweaty, even minutes after his awakening. It must have been awful dreaming about this. He sits up for a minute or two, then gets up and grabs a cup of chocolate milk. Back to reality. He stares at the pigeons outside. One of them is stupid enough to fly into the glass window. Bang! Reality strikes. It hits him like a baseball bat. What the? He's seen this scene before. He remembers his horrific dream. This is real. Is all that stuff with the zombies and the poor victims really going to happen? Are his parents going to be kidnapped? There is only one way to find out, and this time he's not going to let some traffic jam or search in the mountains put a time limit on him. He knows the location. He believes in his dream. It has to be real. Why else would the same fat pigeon from his dream fly into the same window? Determined to prevent the awful events in his nightmare, he runs downstairs, opens the garage door, pulls the sheet off his motorcycle, and hits the gas. Vroom! No traffic, no holdup. Good. First, he visits his parents. Within a minute, he arrives at their places. Bam! He swings the door open, letting it crush against the sidewall. "Mom, Dad!" "What's the matter, son?" his dad asks. "You have to get out of here. Come on, I have no time to explain. I will tell you later. We are running out of time." Okay, if you say so," his dad says obediently. "As long as you'll explain it to us later," his mother adds. Of course. Now let's go. We're really in a hurry here." Both parents get on the back of Kareem's motorcycle. "Oh, this is dangerous," his mother says. "It will be okay, Mom, for now. I will drop you off at the library. It's on the way where I am going anyway. Just promise me you'll stay in there until I'm back." "Okay, Whoa!" his mother exclaims, since Kareem isn't even waiting for her to finish her sentence. He already hit the gas and has taken off into the direction of the library. After dropping his parents off, he races through the streets to his destination in the countryside. "And now I'll deal with you, Carl," Kareem says in a firm, resolute voice. He takes off again, avoiding the traffic jams because of the earliness of his trip. He rides his flaming vehicle out of the city and finds the mountain range he is looking for within a considerable amount of time. He recognizes the cave from his dream, but this time his parents aren't in there yet, nor has the evil professor completed or tested the invention of his toxic substance yet. Kareem doesn't hesitate. He knows what's going to happen. He walks right up to the thugs standing guard. "Hey, who are you?" the professor asks, surprised. "I'm the one who is going to bring you down," Kareem says confidently as he keeps stepping forward. "Shoot him already!" Professor Carl screams. Bang, bang, tag-a-tag-a-tag. They missed. They all missed. Kareem's senses were at a peak. He could feel exactly when and where the bullets would go. Dodging them perfectly, he lifts one side of his mouth into a smirk as he watches the bullets fly through the air without hitting their destined target. With his fists, he takes out each of the 4 guards around the professor, knocking them out one by one and leaving them on the cold floor of the cave. No, I was just trying to help mankind, don't you see? I mean no harm," the professor claims. Kareem grabs him by the throat and holds him against the stony wall. "You're a big, fat liar," he says. "I know what you're planning on doing, but this is where it stops." He drops the professor on the ground. What are you intending to do? Carl stutters. Watch, Kareem says in a form of calm anger. He gathers his strength and begins to smash every tube, every piece of glass, every fluid, and every element on the chemistry table. The rocket doesn't get spared, but bent in half by the powerful hands of this superhero. No, Professor Carl cries. Not my experiment! You have no idea how hard I worked on that! Do you know what you're doing to me? Kareem turns around. Yes, I do. And now the police is going to think of what they are going to do to you. I'm taking you with me. Kareem grabs the evil professor and takes him out of the cave. Dragging him over the rocky ground, he finally looks at him, punches him in the face, and throws the knocked-out professor on his motorcycle. The city has been saved. The diseases and disaster have been prevented. The sun is rising, birds are chirping, and the chilly breeze feels nice in his face. The smell of fresh flowers fondles his nose. An enjoyable motorcycle ride lies ahead of him. I think this will be a good day after all, Kareem says with a satisfied face while hitting the gas. And I think I will even be in the city so quickly to avoid the traffic jams. The end. This has been Story of a Superhero, the superhero who stopped the zombie plague, Kids Adventure Stories. Written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.